Well, thanks everybody for coming to our session today on the presenter training session. There's one goal, and we could say it in one phrase about the session today, is to reduce stress. We won't be on here long, maybe 15 or 20 minutes at most. We also want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. That's really while we're on live. And so let's begin. As you know, our convention's coming up. Most of you are scheduled to speak in some way. And what we want to do is to lower stress by telling you what to expect before you ever walk in the door and how things are going to work, and work out a few issues before we ever get on site. Every room, let me before I even go there, let me show you what a room will look like when you arrive for your speaking session. And typically, you're going to have your audience. You're going to have a presenter, or what we call a room attendant here. You'll be the presenter, obviously. And this will be still a virtual conference. We're going to be recording every session for posterity. We'll also have a attendant in the room, because we have about 30 people and probably more. They're going to be watching you through the cameras live. So they're going to want to be presenting. We're also going to encourage people on site who are sitting there in the audience to pull out their phones and participate in Zoom, in the Zoom meeting, and in the calls, in the online chat. We don't want our remote attendees to feel disconnected, and perhaps the way to do that is to allow the people in the class as well to participate with them and really use those Zoom functionalities in a hybrid fashion that will promote interaction and engagement across the board and during the presentation. So unfortunately, if you're presenting, keep in mind that some people are going to be on their phones. Doesn't mean they're not paying attention, but it means they're probably more than likely engaging. And if they are on their phones, oh well. But they very well could be engaging in with people online, or chatting, or providing resources, or whatever individuals do in those sessions. One thing you'll want to do now, this was a little bit confusing, especially if you haven't presented. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Zoom, so we're not going to go into a lot of that tonight. Only one small thing that we'll talk about with Zoom. So you'll have your audience, you'll have an attendant up here, and the attendant has a camera that will be connected to their computer. And then you have the projector, and what's on the screen of the attendant will be projected to the main screen. Now, here's the little tricky thing that you may not have realized. If you are a presenter, we still need you to bring your laptop, because we want you to share your presentation, not to connect it to the projector. We won't be doing that. You're going to be connecting just through the internet to Zoom, and you'll be sharing your presentation through Zoom. That way, everybody at home will be able to see the presentation. And then if, say, for example, an audience member asks a question, the attendant will actually be able to drag that person's picture to the screen so all the rest of the room can see. Also, too, there will be a wireless mic. Now, I chose here a wire, but I'm just showing you here that this is a connection to the attendant's laptop. It's a wireless mic. It's a little disc. Most of you have seen it before. And that disc will sit right on top of the podium. Now, some of you who are really great presenters should be asking this question. You're going to say, but I'm a mover. I don't want to stand behind the podium. I see a whole lot of heads. That means you're good teachers. Okay, so here's the provision for that. These cameras are nice cameras, and they actually have pan and zoom. We paid a lot of extra money for that, by the way. It's the difference between a $200 camera and a $1,000 camera. These have zoom and pan. So if you don't want to stand at a podium, you don't have to. What you can't do, unfortunately, is wander in a space really bigger than what this wireless mic will pick up, and you usually don't like to carry the mic. We've had a few issues with a little bit of disconnectivity when people start walking around with the mic. Now, with that said, you can move. So usually if you're within 6 feet to 8 feet of that mic and you're walking around, just tell your Zoom attendant, the room attendant, Elizabeth here is going to be one, that you want to go wide. Don't be afraid to tell them that. They'll be happy. And what they'll do is they'll set the camera wide, or they may even follow you with the remote control, because they can sit with the remote control and move the camera back and forth. Now, so we want you to be natural. We want you to be authentic. We want you to be passionate, because we know as teachers, don't we, that enthusiasm really translates, and it translates not only to the people in the classroom, but the people online as well. So we encourage you to walk. If you have classroom participation, let's say you want to ask a question of the audience, we encourage that. In fact, if you want to use groups, I'm sure you're familiar with groups. If you have an instructional strategy that would benefit, the people online breaking into groups, all of our session attendants will know how to do that if you would like to do that. So say, hey, we've got a group of 10 people online. We'd like 5 people in each group to do this activity. Just tell your Zoom attendant how you want them broken up. And that Zoom attendant will be able to respond dynamically to you to be able to break up the group and let them go into their own virtual areas, while people in the classroom may be in their own table groups, for example. So we want you to use that, because we believe that that interaction is critical and a lot of fun, frankly, for a convention like this. Now, if you have a single individual, you're still in a broad session, and an individual in the audience has a question, and you stop to take that question. If it's a longer question, you need to give them another mic, okay? And we'll have another mic in the room for you that might be a handheld, and they'll need to take that, and they'll need to ask that so the people at home can hear, okay? So that'll be an important aspect. Just keep in mind that if it's a short question like, well, did you like that? Well, you don't really have to give them the mic for that. You can just repeat the question. If you repeat the question, there's no need to pass mics around and all that. If it's short, if you don't know, give them the mic, or try to set that kind of standard from the very beginning. So that's really the technical aspect. Now, before you come to conference, what we would definitely probably suggest is a preparation list that looks like this. Install your operating systems, any updates, do that before you come on site. Install the latest copy of Zoom. That'll be important. If your school doesn't allow you to make those updates because you're using a school computer and only they have admin rights, get that done before you come to conference with that particular laptop. Also, too, provide your handouts in advance. Now, we're doing handouts a little more conveniently. If you're like me, I loathe having to provide conference handouts a month before the conference. It's a pain, is it not? Do I have any nods out there? That is absolute, because you're not done with your presentation. Come on, these days, we're doing the presentation a week before, if not a few days, if not a few hours. And we understand that. We want to be flexible. So what Becca Chowning has come up with is we essentially have a SharePoint share. It's a lot like a Dropbox. And she's going to send each of you, I told her, I said, you're going to have to send multiple reminders, but she's going to send you in the next few days a link that's specific to your presentation. All you have to do is click on it. It's going to open up a share drive and you drag your files in. Now, here's the cool thing. You can update your files up to the day of the presentation. Okay. So, but we do encourage you to get those files, because that's a lot of the value added. We encourage activities that go along with your session. We encourage handouts, all types of things. So we understand you don't have to provide all your handouts the way you're going to present them a month in advance. In this day and age, people don't do that. And we realize that. But you do have to use that particular link. If all else fails and you've lost your link and it's the day of the presentation, just send your material to Becca or me and we'll upload it. Okay, and that's the worst case. But if you can, use the link that she provides you. She'll send you probably 3 or 4 reminders or opportunities with that link. And all you have to do is click it, open it, and drag your files over to that. You'll have full access to that folder. And then when it comes time, when we actually make the files available, guess where we're going to link? Right to that folder. So that will be done. And this is what it looks like a little bit. You won't see other people's folder. You're going to be putting them in your own folder. So every presenter or group of presenters has their own folder for uploading materials. Okay, so that'll be a nice change. So take the pressure off, and please make sure that you do get your handouts out, because it is valuable, especially when we start doing the editing and the compilation of the resources to put them up online after the convention is over. Okay. All right, so what else do we have? We have two more small little things here. Each of you in your room, like we showed you on the evaluation a minute ago, will have a session attendant. Now that session attendant has these responsibilities, so you don't have to walk in and feel pressure. We want you to walk in and feel like all you have to do is present. That's what you need to do. And so here, a session attendant is meant to help you connect with Zoom. They're going to be real familiar with that. You need to come in and have that Wi-Fi ready to go. The convention room, we will have Wi-Fi access for you that's functioning. So make sure that if there's, we'll make known to you what your Wi-Fi network and password would be. They're going to also monitor online chat and participation. So like right now, I know one person, Joey, said, nice, thank you. But I didn't see it until just like a moment ago. During your presentation, we don't want you, unless you want to or are very capable to do that, to be distracted from presenting to look at the chat. So unless like some of you might have a friend, I know like we have Certiport here. Certiport will have 3 people probably in the room during their particular presentation, and some of them will probably be monitoring chat. But for you, our session attendants, if you're going solo, you have a session attendant that will watch that, and they'll chime in at certain places during the segment or wait for you to ask for questions, and they'll be monitoring that for you. Okay, so that's a really nice feature that we want you to feel comfortable with. If while you're up there, if you want to see if there's chat questions, you'll have access to it just like everybody else, and so you could do that if you so desire. They can break people up into groups. We've talked about that as well. If you have instructional strategies that will require that, introduce you. Okay, if a host is not available. So when you come in, the session attendant really is in charge of getting things started. They're in charge of introducing you and running the Zoom. Now, some sessions will have another separate person, a VIP or something like that, introduce another person. So that'll be self-known, but you don't have to introduce you. That'll be up to the job of that room attendant, that session attendant that kind of is in charge of managing the room. Introduce you if another host isn't available. Remind attendees to evaluate sessions. I think we got great reviews last year. We're going to continue to do the evaluations the same way we did, just using you type in a real easy link. It gives you a single Google form. You choose the event you did, and you fill out a very short evaluation. We do look at those. As a matter of fact, we put some stock. Some people were not invited back or weren't chosen this year because of bad reviews in the past. Now, we didn't necessarily tell them that, but that's the fact. And that wasn't my decision. That's why we have a convention committee. And if you want to be on the convention committee next year, you can go to nbea.org/committees, and you can sign up for convention committee next year. So you can help make those decisions. Also, we will be recording these sessions. If some of you have proprietary material or something like that and you don't want it recorded, well, we can opt out not to post a recording afterward if that's your desire. But typically we do post the recordings afterwards, and they maintain in our library and for posterity and for people who attended virtually and wanted to access those presentations, they'll be there, okay? So anything, when you get on site instructions, when you get on site, I can give you a link right now, and that's not active right now, but it's going to be nbea.org/VC. If you hit that link, it'll ask you to log in. Now, you don't have access to this currently. We have a few finish up things to do, but this is the same link it was last year. We just reroute to the new page. and it will be essentially a schedule for the day. And so that'll have your physical room. It will also have your virtual room that you can click into. So once you arrive into your room that you're going to present in, you just go to the schedule on your computer and you click to enter that Zoom session, and there you are. Then you'll have to share your screen, and that'll be that. So that's all you'd have to do. Now, here's a big deal. All of our session attendants said the same thing when we had a little session for them the other night. They said, please make sure you show up on time. When promptness goes down, stress goes up. And when you're trying to get everything running on a time frame, please show up at least 15 minutes early, and our attendants will be able to give you that. Will lower stress for everybody. Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough, because we all know if something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong at your session, right? That's the way it just usually works, unfortunately. And we hope not. When you connect to Zoom, since you're up at the front presenting, you'll want to mute your mic and turn down your audio. Just know how to control that. And that way, because the mic will be going through the attendance computer, okay? All right, so at this juncture, I think we've kind of showed you how everything is going to work. I'll take any questions that you have right now. Any questions that you have about the convention, how presenting will work. Also, too, I'll mention one more thing finally. If you're an old-fashioned person like me and don't want to go to nba.org/VC, you can always pick up the program book. Okay, we still have a hard copy program book that you can look at. Unfortunately, it won't have live links. Okay, if you're going to be virtually or connecting, you're going to want to go to that link. So the book, though, will have the rooms and all the things that we normally have in a convention program. All right, Nick has his hand up. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, Joe. So for my presentation, I'm bringing in a couple of friends in to present with me. You talked about the mic being on the podium. Would it be better to just pass a mic around between the three of us or four of us, or what do you recommend?
Do you have a panel?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you have a panel, the mic, if you sit at the same table, the mic will pick you up as long as you're within 6 feet, 6 to 8 feet. If you speak softly at 8 feet, you may want to put the soft-spoken person right at the mic, but it will pick that up and pick it up very well, okay?
All right, I think I've got a lot of loud people on my panel. So
yeah, if you've got, well, yeah, I know a couple of them, and you're right. They won't have any problem, Nick. Yeah, no, but they're all great people, and we're looking forward to their presentation. So that's a great question. Panels will just share one mic at that juncture, okay? And we're still teaching. Are we able to use learning environments such as Nearpod? Correct. Yes, you can. You can use Nearpod. What you can do is just share the links through the chat. Okay, so you have a fully functioning Zoom session minus your audio, because your audio is going through the attendance computer. That's the only confusing thing. But if you have a Nearpod, you speak into the mic will go through the attendance computer, and you type all the things that you need to type into the Zoom or into the chat, just like right here, just like you did here a minute ago. Yeah, absolutely. We'd highly encourage people to use Nearpod and to interact virtually as you go through, or Jamboard or anything like that that would assist you in that. Also, too, the attendants are going to be I love our attendants, and we try to get the same ones when we can. They're going to dynamically try to adjust to your presentation, okay? So if there's a lot of back and forth and somebody's talking on Zoom a lot, they'll try to put their picture up so everybody can see. Or they'll try to monitor and adjust to what you need. You have two attendants on here now, Carrie and Elizabeth. Good. Yeah, that's Becca, and Becca is online today as well. So so anyway, any other questions? That was good. So yeah, we highly encourage that. Carol, go ahead.
Yeah. So so we absolutely need to bring our laptops. Absolutely. I was thinking there would be a laptop there and I just bring my UBS stick, but I guess we have to bring our laptops because it has Zoom on it. Is that
Okay.
why?
Okay. Yes, you can bring a stick, but here's what you're going to have to say. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And the attendant will have to run that. The attendant also can do that, like in an emergency, but keep in mind the attendants still only have one screen. And if they're trying to manage all that and Zoom, it makes it harder on them. Now, with that said, no, we don't have a lot of extra laptops, and that's why we encourage people to do what they're comfortable with, where they just walk in and boom, there it is. And whether they want to play a video, because you know how videos go, sometimes they want to play a video from the computer, not online. Sometimes they want to do a Nearpod and they don't want to have to type in the links. They have it all right there ready to go. So yes, you can do that. I would say that we recommend you use your own if you can, but if that's not an option, they'll present for you and you'll just have to say, next slide, please.
No, I can bring it. I had just thought that we would have a laptop there, so I didn't plan on bringing it. So, and then if we do groups and we tell our attendants ahead of time how to set it up, is that the 15 minutes window that we come early or
Yes,
before that?
Absolutely. Come before, and they should know. So for example, if you want to, you know how Zoom sets up groups. If you're going to set up groups, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it randomly by just saying, okay, you got 20 people in the room. There's going to be 4 groups of 5, randomly push them in there. Or you can type out the groups. Say you wanted to do something, if you had a cybersecurity session and you wanted Microsoft, a room for Word, a room for Excel, and a room for PowerPoint. Then you could allow people, you open up the rooms and they go into each of those rooms. If you want to know how to use groups, if you don't know already, I think most everybody does, but if they don't, you can contact us offline and we can tell you those different options and how to create groups. Otherwise, our attendants are going to know how to do that. You know, Elizabeth, who is one of our session attendants the other day, she just dynamically created a group the other day and it was great. She knew exactly what to do. She responded to the needs and the instructions dynamically. You know, and I don't think that was even planned. We just did it. And so she's right on it. And all the other people on here too they'll know how to accommodate that. Just chat with them a little before. And that's why it's important to get there 15, okay, if you can, 20 minutes. 20 minutes is, you might be running into the other session, but at 15 minutes, you're going to be able to cover a lot of material and get all that done and be able to start right on time. What you don't want to do is walk in, you know, at 5 minutes before, because then that gets, again, promptness goes down, stress goes up. Yeah. So,
yeah,
right.
I didn't know how much time there was between the sessions. So that's why, yeah.
Yeah, at about 15 minutes,
okay,
as memory serves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Looking forward to this convention. Looking forward to hearing all of you speak. Every one of you on here. Just really thank you for presenting. Also, too, you know, as a speaker, you have a speaker's discount. You realize that if you're speaking more than 15 minutes or so, there's $100 discount. If all of you have that, great. If you didn't get that, contact Becca and we will issue a refund in that amount to you. Yeah, that's just a small thanks. For what we would love to do more. Unfortunately, that's the best we can do due to cost. But it's more than it was ever done in the past, from what I understand, and we're very happy we can do that. Wish it again could be more. Anything else? Okay, then what I'll do, that's our presentation for tonight, and thank you for attending. If you have questions, I'll be happy to stick around for a few minutes and talk to you about any concerns or any other questions. Thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you.
Hey, Nick, take care. Thanks. Becca, I'll pause the recording.